Okay, thank you. Welcome and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Linda McLean, Director of Communications, Stakeholder, Indigenous and Rural Relations. I will be your moderator today. We are joined by Mayor Don Scott, Greg Walsh, CEO of the RRC, Annette Antoniak, CAO of the RMWB, and Fire Chief Jody Butts, who is here on behalf of the municipality's Director of Emergency Management. We're here to provide you an update on the latest information made available to us by Alberta Health Services, who remains the trusted authority for COVID-19 in Alberta. We'll also be providing an update on the actions our municipality is taking to prepare for and prevent the spread of COVID-19. We'll start with updates from our individual panel members, and then we will open the floor to questions from media in the room here today. At this time, I'd like to pass it over to Chief Jody Butts to provide his update. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to begin this news conference by recognizing that we are on Treaty 8 and unceded Métis territory. I'm Jody Butts, the Regional Fire Chief, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Director of Emergency Management, Scott Davis. Accompanying me today is our CAO, Annette Antoniak, and Mayor Don Scott, who will also be sharing some remarks. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today and for those watching this update online. I also want to start off by saying I know this is a really stressful time for our region, and taking the precautions and prepares for the impact of this COVID-19 virus. The municipality has and continues to work extremely diligently with local, provincial, and national authorities on preparedness prevention initiatives to limit the spread of this COVID-19 virus. This is a dynamic situation that evolves and can change very quickly, as we've seen in the recent hours. Alberta Health Services remains the trusted authority and the primary information source that updates the COVID virus. Factually, up-to-date information will continue to be available on the AHS website, alberta.ca/COVID-19. I encourage you to review the latest updates from AHS and federal government and ask that you follow all public health guidance. Please also help share this information with your friends, your families, and your neighbors living in Alberta. At this time, the Alberta Health Services still considers the risk to Albertans low. Nonetheless, in the coming weeks are critical in our fight to protect our communities, Albertans, and all of Canadians from the COVID-19 virus. Everyone will have a role to play in this. First of all, following the direction of the Alberta Chief Medical Officers, if you are experiencing a fever, a cough, or extreme tiredness, stay home, self-isolate, and call 811 for instructions. We ask that you do not go to a clinic, a hospital, or do not call 911. I want to emphasize the use of 911, and I understand that there's a wait time with the 811 service health link, but it's absolutely critical that you do not use the 911, as that takes away from immediate emergencies and ties up our emergency dispatchers. Secondly, and this is where everyone needs to be involved, please help in the prevention and spread of this pandemic. To help prevent the spread, by following the direction of the Alberta Health Services, we can all use good hygiene practices such as frequent hand washing, avoid touching eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands, avoid large gatherings of over 250 people should be canceled or avoided. Traveling outside of the country should also be avoided. The RMWB has increased cleaning protocols at all municipal facilities and public transit vehicles. Prevention protocols, including proper hand washing, sanitization processes, have been postponed or posted on all municipal facilities. As previously mentioned, we are in constant communication with local, provincial, and national authorities to monitor the situation and are taking an aggressive public health measures to limit the spread of this virus. But, to borrow a line from our Director of Emergency Management, this will be a marathon. This is not a sprint. We continue to prepare a long-term sustainable strategy to respond to and recover from this situation. I ask that everyone remain calm and assist our public health efforts by doing the best to comply with the public health guidelines. I'm confident in our response, I'm confident in our planning, and I'm confident in the preparedness, and know that we'll get through this together. Thank you for that, and I'm going to turn this over to our CAO, Annette Antoniak.
Thank you, Chief Butts. Good afternoon, everyone. I know for many of our residents, this has been a stressful time. Understandably, there is a lot of anxiety in the community as we hear more and more about the impact of COVID-19. I want to assure our public that the municipality is well positioned to address this pandemic. As Chief Butts has outlined, we have been working closely with our Alberta Emergency Management Agency contacts and have been in regular conversation with health authorities. We are encouraging preventative behavior with our employees and providing information updates that stress the recommendations put forth by Alberta Health Services. As an organization, a significant part of our focus has been business continuity plans. We are implementing these plans within our municipal departments to ensure that we continue to provide core services. A business continuity plan describes how an organization will continue key services in the event of an emergency or disaster. We are prepared with strong plans for essential services. This planning includes ensuring we have adequate personnel and resources for emergency services, that our water and wastewater treatment plants and underground services remain operational, that transit remains available, and that our roads department can continue to provide maintenance. These are all key to keeping the public safe, and safety is our priority. And I want to assure the public that these services will continue to be available. I will note, though, the public may see a shift in some of these services. As an example, while there will still be garbage collection scheduled, the recycling stations that are scattered throughout Fort McMurray may be temporarily removed. Again, this is so we can focus on having staff available for those essential services that keep our public safe and our municipality running. Any changes to services will be communicated on our website, social media channels, and regular means of communications. So please be sure to check there for reliable and accurate information. As well, as part of ensuring that we are sufficiently prepared, we are working within our departments to identify employees with special skills that can be redeployed to different areas should there be a workforce shortage situation. We are also contemplating remote work arrangements for non-essential personnel. We are prepared. I recognize this is a stressful time for many people, but I have every confidence in our organization's preparation and response thus far for COVID-19. I will now turn the floor over to Greg Walsh.
Thank you, CEO Antoniak. On behalf of the RRC, I would just like to speak in alignment to what Chief Butts and CEO and Antoniak spoke about just now. We're very concerned, as all of you are, with the spread of the COVID-19 virus, and we're committed to assisting with the prevention of that spread. So as a result of that, the facilities operated by the RRC will close as of tomorrow morning. So they will remain open through the end of the day today. And we hope that with this measure we can really show our commitment to making sure that the safety and well-being of not only our staff, but the residents of Wood Buffalo is taken into account. As far as how that impacts our staff are still going to be coming to work business as usual, and we'll be assessing through continuity planning ourselves, and we'll be updating them with changes as they occur. So this closure includes all of our facilities, including Shell Place, the Suncor Community Leisure Centre, the Anzac Recreation Centre presented by CNOC, as well as the Conklin Multiplex. As far as individuals or patrons who are looking for information about how this closure affects them, their memberships, their passes, their programs, we'll be reaching out directly to those individuals here in the coming days. If they do have questions, they're also welcome to phone guest services at any one of our facilities. So we're really taking this matter seriously, and we'll update further as we get further along in this process. I'll now hand it over to Mayor Don Scott.
Well, thanks very much. And I just wanted to say that Mayor and Council is very aware of all the measures that are being taken in this region. In fact, Mayor and Council directed that we take aggressive steps to deal with this pandemic. And I think you've just heard a lot of information that reinforces the fact that aggressive steps are being taken. We just left a meeting a few minutes ago where all of Mayor and Council were participating and getting a comprehensive update from our CAO and from all the various senior leadership of the municipality. And I think it's fair to say that we as a Mayor and Council left that meeting feeling confident that there are good plans in place to make sure that our core services are maintained and that we are protecting the health of residents and our employees. Now, there's going to be a lot of steps taken. I don't think anybody anticipated that the world would shift so much in 48 hours, or at least the last 24. There's going to be adjustments as we go forward. Mayor and Council is going to be getting weekly updates, or more frequently than weekly. We established that this morning. We're going to be coming up with a schedule going forward. But we are feeling that we are, notwithstanding the challenges, we are feeling that we are taking aggressive steps. What we've noted throughout the world, or certainly what I've noted throughout the world, is different jurisdictions are being impacted differently depending on how aggressive their response is. One only need to take a look at Hong Kong or Singapore and compare that with what's happening in Italy. There are drastically different results depending on how aggressive these jurisdictions are being, and we're taking the more aggressive approach. So we want to reassure residents that that is occurring and that their Mayor and Council is on top of the situation. We have heard from senior leadership, and thank you to Greg Walsh for his leadership at the RRC. We think that that's an appropriate step to take. And Chief Jody Butts, who has stepped in and is assisting during this period. But we have leadership, including our CAO, who is addressing the points that are raised by Mayor and Council. And I can tell you that we have been raising a lot of points. We want to make sure, one of the things that wasn't addressed is that we are trying to make sure that our rural residents are also feeling as though their concerns are being met and protected. That I've met with and spoken to people in the Indigenous communities. I've passed along messages. I've been speaking with Councillor Jane Stroud, who represents the southern area. We had Councillor Ingalls and Councillor Voisier on the phone this morning from Fort Chipewyan. We want to make sure that the needs in the entire region are being met. And at this point, we're seeing an aggressive response from the municipality that I believe will continue. So to all the municipal staff who are making this possible, I just want to thank you so very much. To residents, please do not panic. You have a municipality that is going to take an aggressive approach to this, but I believe that we are well positioned to address this issue going forward. I know people are concerned, and that makes perfect sense to be concerned, but we want to make sure that people are also confident that their government is taking the appropriate steps, which they can be. And if anybody has any concerns, they can always contact the mayor's office or their councillor, and we can certainly get back to them. But, we want to keep everybody safe, and that is the goal in this. So please do pay close attention to the AHS protocols, and the Minister of Health they've been taking steps and publishing those online. It's absolutely critical that people follow those protocols. And if you have a concern, dial 811. We understand that additional staff are being positioned for more 811 calls. So please protect yourself, protect your neighbors, and make sure that you are following all the steps that are recommended. And thank you very much on behalf of the municipality for taking all the steps necessary to protect yourself and your neighbors.
Thank you, Mayor Scott and our other panel members. I'll now open it up to questions. For the live streams.
I'm wondering if you've heard of any news or any potential cases of the COVID-19 being in the Wood Buffalo region.
I'll ask Fire Chief Butts to respond to that one. Thank you.
So following the information from Alberta Health Services, we do not have any indication that it is here in the Wood Buffalo region at this moment.
A lot of people seem to be panic buying, and it's causing some problems in grocery stores for the food bank. Do you have any direction for people who are stocking up?
Again, Chief Butts.
Yes, to reiterate Mayor Scott's comments there, we need to remain calm. I would advise everyone to educate yourself, plug yourself into the information, understand how the transmission of the COVID-19 virus is moving through our communities and through our population. So there's no need to panic. We just need to everybody needs to take the necessary steps to protect themselves, and by doing that, we're going to limit the transmission of this virus.
And just a quick follow-up to that, is there going to be any support for organizations like the food bank who right now have an empty freezer because they can't get food because of the panic buying?
They haven't reached out to me yet, but we would certainly take any request into account if organizations in this community are struggling. We want to make sure that they're getting as much help as possible to the extent that we are able. So nobody has reached out to me yet. I don't believe administration's received any requests yet, but as those concerns arise, and I would fully expect that we'll see more and more of them, I would hope that people would feel the confidence to reach out to the government.
We've heard some concerns around work camps and workers flying in and out of the region. Is there anything that has been being done to take measures on that?
Yes, thank you for the question. Our long-standing mutual aid relationship with our industrial partners to the north, we are in constant conversation directly about the COVID-19 virus. They are taking the necessary precautions. They understand. The objective is to limit the spread of the virus, and so I can tell you firsthand that each one of them has got contingency plans or continuity plans to do exactly that.
In terms of designated assessment centers for people to get tested, are those still in the works? And are there any recommendations for people who may be experiencing symptoms to reach out to potentially get tested?
As we've said, we are working very closely with our provincial counterparts. Recently, our Director of Emergency Management provided a facilities tour to Alberta Health Services representative to understand exactly that. I want to remind everybody that is strictly planning, that is strictly preparedness. We're getting in front of this one in case. And so there's a number of situations out there. I'm going to leave it in the planning phases and let those folks understand that. What was your second part of your question?
And just other recommendations for residents who may be experiencing symptoms, how to make sure they get tested.
Yeah, I'm going to point you back to the health link, the 811. That is so critical in trying to understand and take the precautionary measures and understand to self-isolate.
Are there any other questions from media? Okay.
In just terms with the RRC, is there a timeline on when you're expecting facilities to be back up and running, or is this something that you're going to be waiting to maybe get updates from the province?
Greg?
Right now, the messaging is until further notice. Obviously, we're in close communications with the municipality, and we're also monitoring health services as well. So for the time being, it will be until further notice.
Thank you. Greg's a little taller. Thank you very much for attending today. If there are no further questions, thank you for your time, and we'll end the conference now.